What's up, everybody? Welcome to DFS by the Numbers. These are my full card breakdown and predictions for UFC Vegas 39. We have Marina Rodriguez going against Mackenzie Dern, and typically I try to be very positive about these cards, but it's not great. Like, it's hard to get excited for Steve Garcia, Charlie Ontiveros. It's hard to get excited for Damon Jackson going against Charles Rosa. It's really hard to get excited for Lariana Staropoli going against Jamie Pickett. So I don't think it's like the best card from a fan standpoint, but from a betting perspective, I do like it. I do have 5 bets that I locked in on Monday, so looking forward to cashing some of those there. But as far as like the card goes, it's not the best card in the world, but there are some matches I'm looking forward to. I'm looking forward for Phil Hawes, looking forward, for the Alexander Romanov Jared Vandermeer fight, looking forward for the main event. There are some good fights on the card, but as a whole, to be honest, it's not that great. But we have fights, can't complain. It's better than no fights at all, so looking forward to get into it. Before I get into it, though, if you guys can please leave a like on the video, subscribe to the channel if you have not already. Lots of content coming out throughout the week, going live after the weigh-in, 7 o'clock p.m. Eastern Time, and also going live 1 hour prior to the prelims for Best Bet, where me and a couple other guys give the best bet for each and every fight on the card. If you do want to check out the Patreon, if you want more content or want to support me more, a lot of times guys ask, how do I donate to you? I mean, signing up for the Patreon would be the best way there. With that, you get access to all my bets. Posted 5 of them on Monday, like I said. My betting breakdown article, and then also to have a Hail Mary in there as well. All the stats you need, tons and tons of stats pertaining each fighter, each matchup, lots of good stuff like that, and then also access to Discord and much, much more. So $10 a month for that. Have nearly 300 members. Thank you all for the support. Really does help out a ton. And yeah, looking to bounce back. This card had a losing night last week. It feels like it's been a while since it was a bad card. But yeah, I had pretty much all my eggs into the basket, and the main event was 4 units deep on the fight finishing, and I thought it was going to be a monster night. Started off the card in a phenomenal way, cashing 4 bets in a row, all violence bets as well. And then Rosa wins. It sets up a great night, and then they play patty cake for 5 rounds in the main event. So it sucks. I was very confident in the fight doesn't go in that fight. I got it like minus 350. It closed like minus 750 on FanDuel. But that's why I will never ever say anything is a lock in MMA, because it's not. Anything can happen. Like there was only one person that I know of that thought that fight was going to go to decision there. But new week, looking forward to it. Loving the spot so far. Loving some parlay pieces. I'm not much of a parlay guy, but this seems to be a decent parlay card. And yeah, looking forward to getting into it. So as far as the picks go, the picks have been fantastic. Only 3 picks wrong in the last 2 weeks. Got Malarkey and Jocko wrong last week, and then 266. I got Pierce wrong, and then got like the next 11 fights on that card right. So the picks have been phenomenal, and hopefully that does keep up, because the picks, getting them right, are important as well. So we'll start with the very first fight of the night. We have, Charlie Ontiveros going against Steve Garcia, and this could be one of the lowest level fights on the entire year. We have Steve Garcia, who is 29 years old, 6 foot, with a 73-inch reach, 11-4 and 4-1 in his last 5 fights. Charlie Ontiveros, he is 30 years old, 6'2", with a 76-inch reach, 11-7 and 3-2 in his last 5 fights. So we'll take a look at the odds here. Steve Garcia opened up minus 300. He is now minus 301. And Charlie Ontiveros opened up plus 250. He is now plus 251. So when you take a look at Charlie Ontiveros, he has lost 7 times, all 7 of them coming by knockout. One was technically, I think they ruled it like a technical submission in his last fight against Holland, where I guess he got injured in that fight. So I go back and watch a ton of Charlie Ontiveros fights, and the common theme is this guy is the definition of, show me the door. This guy is the definition of a quitter. There was this one fight that I was watching where he was getting kneed in the clinch. He breaks away, and then he starts casually walking away. He looks at the ref and says, "I'm done." The ref is like, "Continue on, start fighting," and then the ref does not stop it, and then his opponent just starts punching him while he's walking away, nearly knocks him out. The ref finally steps in and stops it, and sadly, that's not the only instance. I saw a fight where he was taken down, And the moment he was taken down, he looks at the ref and says, "I'm done." The ref stops it. Against Jeff Neal, he was getting beat up for 2 rounds. There's a corner stoppage because he was getting beat up so bad. He quit in that fight as well. Said it was some type of injury, and he gets injured a lot. Like, this guy is made out of glass. He's either injured. You take a look at all of his stoppage losses. There's either a doctor stoppage, a corner stoppage, a TKO. This guy is just made out of glass, and physically and mentally as well. You got to believe he is a good hammer, but probably the worst nail I've ever seen. Like, this guy very well could be the worst UFC fighter on the roster. Steve Garcia, I'm actually kind of impressed with the guy. I really do like his striking. He mixes it up well. I love the pressure. I love the volume. I love how hard he hits. Very nice knees, very nice elbows as well. I think he finishes Charlie Ontiveros. I think he finishes him pretty early as well. I just don't think Charlie Ontiveros is UFC caliber at all, really. I mean, I was shocked to see him make his UFC debut against Kevin Holland, and it kind of happened how we expected, right? He got hurt again. Like, this guy gets hurt so much. So I'm going to take Steve Garcia. I'm going to take Steve Garcia to win by first round knockout. I do not see this one going to the distance one way or another. If Charlie Ontiveros does win, it is probably inside the distance himself. But Steve Garcia is very durable. He's never been knocked out, only been submitted once. I really do like Steve Garcia in this matchup. As far as the odds are concerned, I actually don't hate Steve Garcia at this number. I'm not playing it, but I don't hate him at minus 300. I think that line is fair. I think it could be wider, to be honest. Like, I don't think Charlie Ontiveros poses many problems outside of like a flash knockout in round 1. So give me Steve Garcia. Give me the more mentally tough guy. Give me the more tough guy. And give me the better fighter overall on Steve Garcia here to win the fight by first round knockout. Should be a interesting one to start off the card, to say the least. Next, we have Lupita Godinez going against Sam Hughes. We have Lupita Godinez. She is 28 years old, 5'2", with a 61-inch reach, 5-1 and 4-1 in her last 5 fights. Sam Hughes, she is 29 years old, 5'5", with a 64.5-inch reach, 5-3 and 2-3 in her last 5 fights. So these fighters have fought before. One was a draw, and then one was a fight where Lupi did win. I was not able to see any of those fights. This was at amateur, by the way. Was not able to see any of those fights. Would have liked to really see them pertaining to this matchup, but was not able to, sadly. But we'll take a look at the odds here. We see that Lupita Godinez is a minus 225 favorite, opened at minus 150, and Sam Hughes opened up plus 130. She's now plus 190. So a lot of money coming in on Lupita Godinez as expected. A lot of people are very high on her. Including me. I think she's a really good fighter. She did lose in her last fight against Jessica Penne. She was a huge favorite in that fight against Jessica Penne. She closed around minus 250. So she was actually a bigger favorite against Penne than she is here against Sam Hughes, which is interesting. But, as far as the fight goes, I really do like what I see from Lupi. She is a very strong fighter. She's going to be undersized in this matchup. She's going to be at a 3-inch height disadvantage and also a 3.5-inch reach disadvantage. But, I don't know how much problem Sam Hughes is going to present here in terms of really anything. Like, Lupi is going to have her beat in the striking. Sam Hughes is very hittable. Sam Hughes thus far has a 40% striking defense, and you can see it as well. Like, she is there to be hit. And Lupi actually hits very hard, which it was surprising to see that Lupi has no knockouts on her record because she does throw with bad intentions. In terms of the wrestling, like, Lupi has very good wrestling as well. We saw it against Jessica Penne where she had multiple takedowns. She threw Penne across the cage multiple times, but she did not follow up. She did not go to the ground because Penne is a black belt. Penne is dangerous on the mat, whereas I think if she does get Sam Hughes down, I think she would be more than content to go down to the mat with Sam Hughes there. I just don't really see many paths to victory for Sam Hughes. I mean, if Sam Hughes is going to win, she's going to have to take down Lupita Godinez, you got to think, and I think that's going to be easier said than done because Lupi has very good takedown defense. Lupi is very physically strong. Even Penne had problems taking her down. She would take her back standing at times, and I guess she has to worry about that here in this fight. But that's not really something Sam Hughes I can see doing as well as a Jessica Penne at all. So yeah, I like Lupi here. I like Lupi quite a bit. I do think she wins a very dominating decision, to be honest. Sam Hughes is tough, but I do think she's going to get pieced up for 15 minutes here. So give me Lupita Godinez to win, and give me Lupita Godinez to win by decision. All right, we have Damon Jackson going against Charles Rosa. We have Damon Jackson, 33 years old, 5'11", with a 73-inch reach, 18-4-1, and 3-2 in his last 5 fights. We have Charles Rosa, 35 years old, 5'9", with a 69-inch reach, 14-5, and 3-2 in his last 5 fights. So we'll take a look at the odds, and we see that Charles Rosa opened up as a -180 favorite, and now he is +155. The line completely flipped. And then Damon Jackson opened up a +155 underdog, and he's now a -180 favorite. So very interesting line movement on that one, and it looks like money still is continuing to come in on Damon Jackson. And I definitely do get why to an extent. I mean, the line might seem a little bit weird because Charles Rosa has fought in the UFC a lot longer. Charles Rosa has fought the much better competition, but there's just a glaring hole in Charles Rosa's game, and that's the takedown defense, and that's the lack of ability to get up. And I feel like Damon Jackson is somebody that can definitely exploit that. I feel like Charles Rosa is the more well-rounded fighter, but you take a look at Damon Jackson, and how does he typically lose? It's by knockout. I mean, Topuria knocked him out. There was a fight I watched outside of the UFC. I think it was on PFL, actually, where it was like a flying knee knockout. He got knocked out there, and he's been knocked out 3 times in his 4 losses. He's also been submitted once. That was against the NC Medeiros back in 2014, from a bulldog choke. So a long time ago there. But yeah, I just don't really see Charles Rosa presenting many problems outside of, I think whoever takes this fight down to the mat first is going to have success because both guys have poor takedown defense. Both guys are content to be off their back. But we see that Charles Rosa against Bryce Mitchell. Bryce Mitchell was able to take him down easily 3 times, 1 takedown each round, and he controlled him for 12 minutes and 51 seconds. Bryce Mitchell almost submitted this guy like 20 times, but it just goes to show how hard it is to submit Rosa. Same thing with Darrick Minner. Darrick Minner, who's typically a gasser, he typically gasses out after 7.5 minutes or earlier. He was able to, take Rosa down 4 times and control him for 12 minutes and 34 seconds of that fight. He made Darrick Minner look like he had a gas tank. Same thing with Justin James. Justin James is somebody that typically slows down after 5 minutes. He made Justin James look like he had a gas tank. Justin James actually won the 3rd round in that fight, which shocked me, and Justin James even took down Charles Rosa at one point in that 3rd round, and it looked like he was getting really close to a submission. Justin James took him down twice as well. So the takedown defense is a big problem. The get-up game is a big problem. There's a lot of problems on the Charles Rosa side, and I'm not somebody that's very high on Damon Jackson, but I think stylistically, if he goes out here and goes for takedowns, which he does a lot, and his wrestling's not bad, his grappling's really good, I think he can have some success here. So I do like Damon Jackson to win. Will I bet on the -180, -190? Absolutely never would bet that line on Damon Jackson, but I think this is a matchup where he can very well get it down to the mat and kind of implement the Minner and the Bryce Mitchell game plan here. Just take him down and just lay on him for 15 minutes. I don't see Damon Jackson submitting Charles Rosa. Rosa's never been submitted, but I could see, Damon Jackson winning a pretty comfortable decision with the takedowns and with the control time. So give me Damon Jackson to win. Give me Damon Jackson to win by decision. All right, so we'll move on to the next fight. Looking forward to this one. We have Alexander Romanov going against Jared Vanderaa. We have Romanov, who is 30 years old, 6'2", with a 75-inch reach, 14-0, obviously 5-0 in his last 5 fights. Very controversial win in his last fight against Juan Espino, but he got the win regardless. Jared Vanderaa, 29 years old, 6'4", with an 80-inch reach, 12-5, and 3-2 in his last 5 fights. So Vanderaa is going to be the bigger fighter. He's going to have a 2-inch height advantage, going to have a 5-inch reach advantage as well. And we'll take a look at the odds. We see that Romanov is the biggest favorite on the card, opening up -400 and currently -600, and getting wider and wider. And Jared Vanderaa opened up +330, currently +425, and like I said, I expect that line to get wider and wider as the week goes on. So I guess the biggest thing to look at in this matchup is going to be Jared Vandeera's fight with Sergey Spivak. And in that fight, Spivak was able to take him down very, very easily. He took him down 3 times. Vanderaa actually has a 0% takedown defense thus far in his 3 fights because Spivak was able to go, I think, 3 for 3 on takedowns in that fight, and he made it look like very easy. Like Vandeera's takedown defense is very bad, and that's not a good thing to have in this fight against Alexander Romanov, who, in my opinion, is a much stronger guy than Spivak, a much better wrestler than Spivak. I've seen him pick up 300-pound guys and walk them across the cage and slam them. I've seen him pick up 300-pound guys and just throw them against the cage. Like, this guy's wrestling is unbelievable. They call him King Kong for a reason. This guy is a big, strong guy. And I actually think that, Romanov's more dangerous than Spivak on top as well. He has those hammer fists where he throws two at once, multiple submissions on his record as well. He has a couple submissions in the UFC over a black belt. Believe it or not, he is a black belt. And Marcos Rogerio de Lima. He submitted Roy Martinez as well, and I think he probably gets either another submission or a knockout here against Jared Vanderaa. Just the way Spivak was able to take him down easily, the way he had nothing off his back, and I believe Vanderaa is a black belt as well, believe it or not, but you really can't tell by watching tape on the guy. The guy has a very, very bad game on bottom, and he kind of looked like he gave up in that second round after getting dominated for about 9 minutes against Sergey Spivak. He kind of just turned around, and Spivak was able to let loose on some ground and pound, and the ref stepped in. I like Romanov to win this fight. I like him to win either sub or KO. It's hard to pick between the two. I think both can happen, but just don't really see many paths to victory for Vanderaa outside of maybe this is his path to victory, taking a beating for 10 minutes, Romanov gassing out, and maybe getting a finish in the third round. Like, that's the only path to victory I could see. I don't see him stuffing takedowns. I don't see Romanov testing his striking out because that's not something he does. He fights smart. He gets the fight down to the mat and he finishes it. And I think that's what's going to happen here. So yeah, I definitely get why Romanov is a big favorite. I do agree with that, and I think he should get it done here in a pretty dominant fashion as well. So give me Alexander Romanov to win, and give me Alexander Romanov to win by, I'm going to say, second round finish. All right, next we have a fight that I'm not really looking forward to. Laureano Staropoli going against Jamie Pickett. We have Staropoli, who is 20 years old, 6'1", with a 71.5-inch reach, 9-4, 2-3 in his last 5 fights. Jamie Pickett, 33 years old, 6'2", with an 80-inch reach. Excuse me. 11-6 and 2-3 in his last 5 fights. So we'll take a look at the odds, and we do see that Staropoli is minus 225 favorite. He opened up minus 150. And Pickett opened up plus 130. He's currently plus 190. So, first look, I thought I would be placing a bet on Staropoli. But after getting into it, I want nothing to do with this fight. So Staropoli is going to be fighting at middleweight here for the second time in a row. The last time was against Roman DEC, where DEC was, just proven to be the much, much bigger fighter. And he was able to take him down 5 times and control him for 9 minutes and 37 seconds of that fight. Prior to that, he did lose to Tim Means, and then prior to that, he did lose to Muslim Salikov. So he is losing to some very good competition, but he is going to be very undersized here at 185. And then, like we take a look at it, we see that he's going to have a crazy reach disadvantage. He's going to have an 8.5-inch reach disadvantage, and I'm not high on Pickett at all. I don't think he's UFC caliber, but that size does concern me slightly. Also, you take a look at the takedown defense of Staropoli, and it's sitting at about 52%. So maybe Pickett could use some wrestling, get this fight down to the mat. But it's a tough fight to call. It really is. I'm going to go with who I think is the better fighter in Laureano Staropoli. He's fought the much better competition, and it's not even close. He has some good wins on his record. He has some UFC wins. He beat Hector Aldana. He beat Thiago Alves. And then he's losing to really good guys. Again, Roman DEC, Tim Means, Muslim Salikov. I think all 3 of those guys would beat Pickett pretty handily. But yeah, to be honest, I want nothing to do with this fight. The size is what does concern me. But skill for skill, I do think Staropoli is the much more skilled fighter, the much better striker. And I'm not sure what Pickett's good at. I'm really not sure what Pickett is good at. I think he's a brown belt, but we don't see much of his grappling. Decent wrestler, but we don't see a ton of it. The striking's not great. The volume's not great. He's tough. He's very tough, but with that toughness, he did get finished in his last fight against the Beverly Hills Ninja. And that was something I was kind of counting on in that fight, was that toughness. And he's never been knocked out before, but the Beverly Hills Ninja just ran through him in about a minute. So, yeah, I want nothing to do with this fight. Pretty low-level fight, to be honest, but I think Staropoli does get back on track, but I would not be shocked if the bigger fighter in Pickett was able to, use that size to present some problems. But I'm going to go with the more skilled fighter in Laureano Staropoli, a fight that, again, I am not really looking forward to all that much. But I am kind of looking forward to this one. We have Chris Gutierrez going against Felipe Caloris. We have Chris Gutierrez, who is 30 years old, 5'9", with a 67-inch reach, 16-3-2, and 4-0-1 in his last 5 fights. Felipe Caloris, he is 27 years old, 5'8", 69.5-inch reach, 10-2, and 3-2 in his last 5 fights. So I do want to get into some stats for this one, but first we will check the odds. And we do see that Chris Gutierrez opened up as a -250 favorite. He's currently -255. Felipe Caloris opened up +210. He is currently +215. So getting to the stats here, in terms of the striking stats, it's going to be Chris Gutierrez all day, and it's really not even close. He does land 4.3 significant strikes per minute with a 53% striking accuracy. He does absorb 2.45 significant strikes per minute with a positive 1.85 significant strike differential and a 59% striking defense. Chris Gutierrez's striking is phenomenal. Some of the best calf kicks in the division. I mean, this guy's leg kicks are out of this world. He had that leg kick TKO against Vince Morales a few fights ago. And there was another fight against Geraldo de Freitas where he hurt de Freitas' legs so bad that he was like flopping to his back several times in that third round in their fight. This guy kicks very, very hard. As far as Felipe Caloris, he does land 2.15 significant strikes per minute, very low volume with a 51% accuracy, absorbing 4.22 significant strikes per minute with a negative 2.07 significant strike differential and a 38% striking defense. Very, very, very concerning numbers there for Caloris. He is very hittable. He's absorbing a ton more than he's giving out, and that 38% striking defense is not good. But what I will say about Felipe Caloris is this guy's toughness is absolutely next level. He took an absolute beating from Montel Jackson, was able to survive that fight. So you cannot question this guy's toughness at all, but you can really question his striking defense, and especially in this matchup, I think it's going to be one-way traffic on the feet. How does Felipe Caloris win this fight? He's going to have to get it down to the mat. Chris Gutierrez does average a half a takedown per 15 minutes, 60% takedown accuracy, and has a 73% takedown defense. Felipe Caloris, he does average 2 takedowns per 15 minutes with a 23% accuracy and has a 38% takedown defense. So Caloris, if he wants to win, he's going to have to get this fight down to the mat. The problem with that is, Caloris does attempt a lot of takedowns, but he's not great at him. He's not the best wrestler. He doesn't have the best ability to get it down to the mat. Only a 23% accuracy, like I said. And Chris Gutierrez actually has very, very good takedown defense. His takedown defense early is phenomenal. I guess when guys really, try to take him down, try to land multiple takedowns, maybe they do get him down here and there. But as the fight goes on, especially, I think his takedown defense gets better as the fight goes on, and when opponents start to get tired, Chris Gutierrez does not, and especially Felipe Caloris, who was really tired in that Luke Sanders fight. Like, he was gassed out. Both guys were. And, I think Gutierrez is going to have the better cardio here. I think maybe Caloris could have some success early in terms of getting the takedown, but even then, I don't see him holding Chris Gutierrez down. And like I said, as the fight goes on, it's going to really wear out Caloris trying to get the takedowns for one, and then also those leg kicks are going to really, really affect Caloris as well. So I like Gutierrez to win. I like Gutierrez to win probably a one-sided decision here. Maybe he can finish Caloris late with some leg kicks, because he's done it before, and he's been close to doing it again. So I could see that, but Caloris is just tough. He's tough, next level toughness, never been knocked out. Don't know if he ever will be, but I'm going to take Chris Gutierrez to win a pretty one-sided decision. I think the striking is just going to be levels apart from each other. So give me Chris Gutierrez by decision. All right, next we have Phil Hawes going against Ronwynn. We have Phil Hawes, who is 32 years old, 6 foot, with a 77.5-inch reach, 11-2, and 5-0 in his last 5 fights. We have Ronwynn, who is 32 years old, 5'6", with a 70-inch reach, 7-2, and 3-2 in his last 5 fights. So Phil Hawes is going to be the bigger fighter. He's going to have a 6-inch height advantage, and he's going to have a 7.5-inch reach advantage. And I'll say this, Ronwynn is very, very, very undersized for middleweight. He actually was able to make it work in his last fight against Antonio Hoyo, but there's a big difference in terms of the defensive wrestling in Antonio Hoyo and Phil Hawes. Antonio Hoyo has some of the worst takedown defense in the UFC, which, by the way, I think Hoyo got cut. And Phil Hawes has a 100% takedown defense. Phil Hawes did wrestle D1, and he's a very, very strong guy, very physically strong, and I don't think Wynn's going to have success in terms of trying to get the takedowns, or at least is not as much success as he did in the Ahoyo fight. But we'll take a look at these odds. We see that Phil Hawes is one of the biggest favorites on the card. I want to say he is the second biggest favorite on the card, opening up minus 220. He's currently minus 310. Wynn opening up plus 185. He's currently plus 260 there. So Hawes is a big favorite, and for an absolute good reason. I think this is a horrible matchup for Wynn. For Wynn to have success, he's going to need to get takedowns. And we take a look at Wynn and some of his fights. Against Eric Spicely, he didn't even need a takedown. He was able to outland Spicely 169 to 108, win a decision there. Against Dern SUB, he did get takedowns in that fight, but he really slowed down as the fight goes on. We'll talk more about the gas tanks between the two as well. Against Gerald Meerschaert, Meerschaert is somebody that typically doesn't really outstrike many people at all, but Meerschaert was able to outlane him 86 to 53. He was able to use that size, that length. We'll take a look. Meerschaert is 6'1" with a 77-inch reach, and Meerschaert looked long in there, and he really used that length, and he really pieced apart Wynn. He hurt him multiple times, and then finally in that third round, he hurt Wynn bad, and Wynn was on skates, and he ended up shooting a takedown on Meerschaert, and Meerschaert submitted him shortly after. So if Gerald Meerschaert is hurting you on the feet, I can't even imagine what Phil Hawes is going to do to Wynn here. Phil Hawes hits like an absolute truck. And, by the way, Phil Hawes, I'm very impressed with this guy as of late. He's looking a lot better. Typically, this is a guy that has about 5 minutes of gas and he's done. He quits, he gets tired, he gets finished. He's been finished in both of his losses. I think both are. One came in the first round after he got clipped and then submitted, and then one came in the second round against Julian Marquez where he gassed out bad. So typically, Phil Hawes' fights are ending inside the distance for the most part. I know the last two have not, but yeah, against Nasruddin Imavov, who Imavov had a massive striking advantage in that fight, and Phil Hawes had great IQ. He held him against the cage. He made it boring. It was a boring fight, and he held him against the cage, took him down 4 times, and he got 11 minutes and 6 seconds of control time. That's not easy to do. Nasruddin Imavov is a very good fighter. And then against Kyle Daukaus, who, obviously very dangerous. We saw what he just did to, Kevin Holland, headbutt or not. He's a very dangerous fighter. And Phil Hawes outlands him 66 to 28. He takes him down. He takes him down twice, which is very impressive considering how dangerous Daukaus is off his back. And he was able to control Daukaus for 5 minutes and 34 seconds. And I guess what stuck out to me in that fight was, Hawes had the better cardio between him and Daukaus. Daukaus was the one to gas out in that fight, and that shocked me because we think of Hawes, we think of him as some gasser, but, he's making so much improvements. His gas tank looked phenomenal in the Daukaus fight. His gas tank looked improved in the Imavov fight. And dare I say it, I think Phil Hawes has the better gas tank in this fight because Wynn, his gas tank's horrible. He gassed out after the first round in the Dern SUB fight. He was slowed down bad in the Meerschaert fight. Ahoyo presented no problems, but I just think it's a terrible matchup for Wynn. If they're going to stay striking for 15 minutes or up until the fight finishes, I think he's going to get hit very, very hard, and I think he's going to get knocked out here. Wynn, very hittable, absorbing more than he's giving out, getting outstruck by Meerschaert. If Meerschaert's hurting you and hitting you that much, I think Phil Hawes is going to do even worse and probably finish him in the first or second round. So I like Phil Hawes to win. I like Phil Hawes to win inside the distance. Wynn has never officially been knocked out, but he doesn't have much fights. He has 9 fights. But he has been submitted after he was on skates against Gerald Meerschaert. So, yeah, it's a terrible matchup for Wynn, you got to imagine. Maybe he has success early, but I just don't really see him taking down Hawes. And if he does take him down, is he going to hold him down? Absolutely not. Absolutely. If you can't hold down Dern SUB, who has a 67% takedown defense, who can be held down, I don't know if you can hold down Phil Hawes, who is a better wrestler, much more physically strong, and I just don't see it. So give me Phil Hawes here to win. I guess the path to victory for Wynn to win would be a knockout. Phil Hawes, I think he is chinny. I really do think he is chinny. He's been knocked out. He's been dropped and submitted before. He was on skates against Nasruddin Imavov. So Wynn does throw with bad intentions. That could be a path to victory for Wynn. A knockout. But other than that, I just don't see him winning a decision. I obviously don't see him winning by submission. I think it's going to have to be some type of big shot that lands, which it could happen. It's a fight, but I really do like this matchup for Phil Hawes. So give me Phil Hawes to win. I'll take him to win by second round knockout. All right, and yeah, I hate this fight. I hate this fight so much. Sabina Mazza going against Maria Agapova. Sabina Mazza, 24 years old, 5'7", 70-inch reach, 9-2, and 3-2 in her last 5 fights. Maria Agapova, 24 years old, 5'6", with a 68-inch reach, 9-2, and 3-2 in her last 5 fights. Take a look at the odds here. We have Sabina Mazza opening at -180, currently -177. Agapova opening at +155. She's currently +152. So the reason I hate this fight is I'm very low on both fighters. I mean, losing to Shanna Dobson is not just something to ignore at all. Like, that's bad. That is very bad. She went in there expecting to finish Shanna Dobson, as a lot of people did, including me, in that first round. She was not able to. She ultimately gassed out, but that's her fighting style. I went back and watched a lot of her fights, and that's just how she fights. She fights like a very crazy paced style where, she throws with, everything. She puts everything to her shots, and, if she can get takedowns, her ground and pound's very good. Very solid ground game in Agapova, but I just have so many question marks, and we have not seen her since August of 2020. So it's been a while since we have seen Maria Agapova, and I'd like to say she made improvement. She's a young fighter. She switched camps, but we haven't seen those yet, and that's what makes this fight so hard to call. On the flip side, Sabina Mazza, I'm not really high on her as well. I think her striking's good, but we saw Alexis Davis was able to take her down 3 times, and Alexis Davis was able to control her for 8 minutes and 50 seconds of that fight. This fight is a nightmare to predict for me. I'm gonna pick the dog in Maria Agapova. I'll say she has made some improvements. Improve that cardio, fight smarter. Go for takedowns. Go for takedowns in this fight. I don't think Mazza has a good ground game for one, and then also I don't think she has a good takedown defense. So if Agapova does go for takedowns, I think she's very dangerous on the mat and even on the feet. Like, Mazza's probably the more technical striker, probably the better striker, but Agapova does throw with bad intentions. She does throw very hard. She's hittable, but she does land hard. She does hurt fighters, and she's actually a pretty solid finisher in terms of being a flyweight. So hate this fight. I've been going back and forth. I do not like it, but I'll take Maria Agapova to bounce back after being like a -1,400 favorite, -1,300 favorite against Shanna Dobson and losing. And now we see her as an underdog, and I have no intentions of betting this fight whatsoever, but as far as a pick goes, I'm going to take Maria Agapova to bounce back. I actually do like her style somewhat. It's fun and exciting, but in terms of putting your money on, it's hard to do so. So I'll take Agapova, but yeah, not too excited about this one, to be honest. All right, next we have Tim Elliott going against Matias Nicolau. We have Nikolao, who is 28 years old, 5'6", with a 66-inch reach, 16-2-1, and 4-1 in his last 5 fights. Tim Elliott, 34 years old, 5'7", with a 67-inch reach, 17-11-1, and 2-3 in his last 5 fights. So we'll get into some stats for this one as well, but before we do so, we'll take a look at the line, and we see that Matias Nicolau opened at -155. He is currently -192. And then Tim Elliott opened up +135. He's currently +167. So yeah, getting into the stats here, we see that Nicolau does land 3.79 significant strikes per minute with a 52% striking accuracy, absorbing 2.83 significant strikes per minute with a positive 0.96 significant strike differential, and a very good, very impressive 67% striking defense. Tim Elliott lands 3.35 significant strikes per minute with a 45% accuracy, absorbing 2.49 with a positive 0.86 significant strike differential and a 59% striking defense. In terms of their takedown grappling stats here, we have Nicolau, very solid wrestler, very solid grappler. I believe he has a black belt in BJJ. Nicolau does land about 2 takedowns for 15 minutes, 44% accuracy, and he has a 100% takedown defense. Tim Elliott lands 4.01 takedowns per 15 minutes with a 49% takedown accuracy and a 58% takedown defense. So Nicolau having that 100% takedown defense, I think he's defended, like 3 takedowns. So that 100% takedown defense is going to be more than tested in this fight against Tim Elliott, because Tim Elliott's going to be trying to get this fight down to the mat early and often. So you take a look at Tim Elliott in his career, and what I noticed was he's losing to really good guys. He's losing to really, really good guys. Demetrius Johnson back in 2016. Davison Figueiredo, Askar Askarov, Brandon Royval. Those are some of his losses since 2016. But take a look at some of his wins since 2016. We have Luis Smolka, Mark De La Rosa, Ryan Benoit, and Jordan Espinoza. Like, that's concerning. Like, those are his 4 wins since 2016. Mark De La Rosa, Luis Smolka, Ryan Benoit, and Jordan Espinoza. Like, Matias Nikolao, if he beats Matias Nikolao, that will be by far the best win out of those 4. But yeah, I'm a big fan of both guys. I like the style of both guys, but I like Nikolao in this fight. He's going to be the younger fighter. I really like his striking. He is very well-rounded. Like I mentioned, a black belt in BJJ, very good grappler, solid wrestling. And if Elliott does take him down, I have no doubt in my mind that he's going to be able to get back up or sweep and reverse Elliott, who's been reversed multiple times in his career. But on the feet, I do like Nikolao quite a bit. Elliott is a little bit on the hittable side. He has a ton of toughness to back it up, but I just like Nikolao and anywhere this fight goes, to be honest. So I'm going to take Nikolao to win. I'm going to take Nikolao to win by decision. Elliott is very tough. Maybe some type of submission. Elliott has been submitted a massive, he's been submitted 5 times in his career. But I'm gonna say Nikolao wins by decision though, and I'm looking forward to this fight. Again, a big fan of both guys here, but I'll lean to the more well-rounded fighter in Nikolao. I really do like this guy's game. So we'll see what happens. So give me Nikolao to win by decision. Co-main event time, we have Randy Brown going against Jared Gooden, and maybe not the most name value in this co-main event, but I do see why they're making it the co-main event because it's going to be a very fun fight. 2 very fun and exciting fighters. We have Randy Brown, who is 31 years old, 6'3", 78-inch reach, 13-4 and 3-2 in his last 5 fights. Jared Gooden, 27 years old, 6 foot, 77-inch reach, 18-6 and 3-2 in his last 5 fights. So we will take a look at the odds, and we do see that Randy Brown, decent sized favorite, opened up minus 200, currently minus 225. Jared Gooden opened up plus 170, currently plus 190. And yeah, I do think that line is a little bit off, but you take a look at Randy Brown, he's going to have a 3-inch height advantage. He's going to be the bigger fighter, a 1-inch reach advantage as well. He's fought the much better competition, and it's not even comparable at all. But what I will say about Gooden is he's very tough. He's very, very tough. In his 24 fights, he's only been knocked out once. But with that toughness comes how hittable he is. He has a 49% striking defense, and it was bad what Alan Jouban did to him in his UFC debut. Alan Jouban landed 168 significant strikes on this guy, and he showed a ton of toughness. He did get hurt here and there, but his durability is pretty solid, and I do like that about him, but I don't like how hittable he is. And then after that, he got outlanded by Abubakar Nurmagomedov, 60-43, which that kind of surprised me a little bit. I thought if Abubakar Nurmagomedov was going to win, I thought it would be based off of takedowns and control time. But no, Abubakar Nurmagomedov actually outlanded him 60-43, so that was surprising as well. Then he goes in and he starches Nicholas Stolze in a round. So yeah, I got to go with Randy Brown here, but I don't like the odds because, in terms of durability, I think that Gooden is the more durable fighter. We have seen Randy Brown knocked out, the hammer fist from bottom from Nico Price. Vicente Luque knocked him out as well. And Gooden very well could catch him here, but, skill for skill, level of competition, the size of Randy Brown, I do like Randy Brown in this spot to piece up Jared Gooden throughout the duration of the fight or up until he gets a finish, but Gooden's just so tough, so I don't know if he's going to be able to finish Gooden, but just seeing how hittable he was against Alan Jouban, just hittable in general, I think it's a good spot for Randy Brown outside of him getting knocked out. I think if Gooden wins, it's by knockout. I think if Brown wins, it could be by knockout as well, but I wouldn't be shocked if it was a decision also. So I'm going to take Randy Brown. I think Jared Gooden will be a very popular dog this week, and I get it, but I think Randy Brown's fought the much better competition, and it's not even close. Like Vicente Luque, Alex Oliveira, Nico Price, guys like that, Bilal Muhammad, guys like that, Brian Barberena, and he's looking good against a lot of these guys. Warlley Alves, it's not easy to submit Warlley Alves. It's not easy to do that, and Randy Brown, he did that. So I'm going to take Randy Brown to win. It should be a very fun and exciting fight. Do I love the money line? No, but as far as a pick, I'll go with Randy Brown to win. It's tough. I'm going to say Randy Brown by a late third round finish. I think the damage is going to add up. I'm going to say he catches him late in the fight in that third round. So give me Randy Brown for the late finish there. All right, next we have the main event. Just want to remind you guys to please leave a like, subscribe, check out the weigh-in live stream, 7 o'clock p.m. Eastern Time. They'll be going live once more Saturday, 1 hour prior to the prelims. Check out those live streams. Make sure you are subscribed so you don't miss out on those. We have the main event, Mackenzie Dern going against Marina Rodriguez. We have Mackenzie Dern, 28 years old, 5'4", 63-inch reach, 11-1, 4-1 in her last 5 fights. Marina Rodriguez, 34 years old, 5'6", with a 65-inch reach, 14-1 and 2, and 3-1-1 in her last 5 fights. We'll take a look at the odds here. We see the Mackenzie Dern open up -185. She's currently -172. Marina Rodriguez open up +160. She's currently +147. So if you guys know me, you guys know that I am probably the biggest Mackenzie Dern, hater out there. But this is a spot where I think she probably does get it done. We'll talk about why. So we'll take a look at the striking stats. Mackenzie Dern does land 3.64. Significant strikes per minute with a 38% accuracy, absorbing 3.57. Significant strikes per minute with a positive 0.07. Significant strike differential, and a 61% striking defense. As far as Marina Rodriguez, she does land 4.89 significant strikes per minute with a 48% accuracy. She does absorb 3.24 significant strikes per minute with a positive 1.65 significant strike differential and a 54% striking defense. So in terms of the striking, it's going to be Marina Rodriguez, and it's going to be Marina Rodriguez all day. Mackenzie Dern's striking is improving a little bit, but I think it's still not even close whatsoever. It was just 2 fights ago where Mackenzie Dern went to a competitive striking fight with one Jurna Jandiroba, but her striking looked improved, but still, that's not great. What Mackenzie Dern is going to want to do is get it down to the mat. Mackenzie Dern averages a half a takedown per 15 minutes with a 10% takedown accuracy. She also has a 0% takedown defense. So yeah, her wrestling's not great. She was able to go out there and get a takedown in her last fight against Nina Ansaroff, and that was impressive. I was not expecting that because Nina Nunes typically has very good takedown defense. She was somebody that was able to stuff multiple takedowns from Tatiana Suarez. She actually stuffed 9 takedowns from Tatiana Suarez. She was able to stuff takedowns from Claudia Gadelha. She stuffed 8 takedowns from Claudia Gadelha. She was able to stuff takedowns from Random Marcos. She stuffed 10 takedowns from Random Marcos. So I thought, hey, Nina Ansaroff could potentially stuff some takedowns here and win the fight. But no, Mackenzie Dern got her down. And once she got her down, we all knew the fight was over, or going to be over pretty quick, and it was. So it's a pretty easy fight to break down, right? If Mackenzie Dern gets the takedown, she's going to get a submission. She has 25 minutes to get a takedown. If she does not get a takedown, she's going to get beat up. She's going to get beat up very bad and maybe even finished. Marina Rodriguez on the feet is no joke. She hits very hard. We saw what she did to Amanda Ribas. That was bad. That was very bad. And she hits really hard for the division. So take a look at Rodriguez's takedown defense. It is 62%. You take a look at Marina Rodriguez and her career. She got taken down once by Michelle Waterson. Michelle Waterson was 1 for 5 on takedown. She was taken down once by Amanda Ribas. Ribas was 1 for 1, and when Ribas did get that takedown, she was able to control Rodriguez for that whole round. Carla Esparza was 5 for 9 on takedowns against Marina Rodriguez. Cynthia Calvillo was 3 for 4 on takedowns against Marina Rodriguez. She basically gets taken down in about every fight. Random Marcos took her down twice. She was 2 for 5 on takedowns. She gets taken down a lot. She gets taken down a lot, and I think only one takedown is what it's going to take for Dern to win the fight. And this is hard for me to do because I'm the biggest Dern hater out there, like I said. But, this is a matchup where it's going to take one takedown, and I think it's to be over shortly after. So, I'm going to say she does get the takedown eventually. It seems like to be a lot of times when Dern fights fighters, they, slip on a banana peel and fall on their back, like Hannah Cyphers, I think, like pulled guard, basically, in their fight. Random Marcos, Dern slipped. Random Marcos went right into Dern's guard. Stuff like that happens, quite a bit. But yeah, I'm going to go with Dern here to win. I'm going to take Dern to win by submission. I think it's a solid matchup for her, but would I be shocked if Rodriguez is able to stuff the takedowns, exploit that awful wrestling of Dern, exploit that striking? No, I would not be shocked, but I feel like I can see it now. Rodriguez either slips, which it's happened before. She did slip against Aguilar. She slipped against Jessica Aguilar, and she was controlled for that whole round. She either slips, or maybe Dern's wrestling is improved, and she takes her down. And if she does get her down one time, it's going to take one time the fight will be over shortly after. I hate Marina Rodriguez's get-up game. I hate her ground game, her takedown defense. So I will pick Mackenzie Dern for the win, and I'll take her to win by submission. Would I bet her as a favorite? No. Would I bet her at this much of a favorite? Absolutely not. Like, this line did shock me when I saw it because Rodriguez very well could win the fight. It's just Dern probably does get her down and submits her. So, yeah, I'll pick Dern to win. And, yeah, that's about it. So thank you guys for watching UFC Vegas 39. Please leave a like. Subscribe to the channel if you have not already. Would be much, much appreciated. Check out the Patreon if you do want more content. Have 5 bets out already. I'll be getting the article done within the next couple days. The stat model will be out soon as well. Lots of stuff coming up. And, yeah, we will see you Friday. So good luck for UFC Vegas 39. Let's win some money on this not so great card, but it should be okay. It should surprise a lot of people, including me, hopefully, in terms of it being better than expected. That's usually how it goes. So that's about it, guys. Good luck, and we will see you soon.